stand by these comments? And two, do you accept that NATO allies lost troops in the Afghanistan conflict? They haven't come back to me. They did email in response to an earlier question that we asked them, asking them if they would clarify his remarks. And I'll read you their response. President Trump is right. America's contributions to NATO dwarf that of other countries. His success in delivering a 5% spending pledge from NATO allies is helping Europe take greater responsibility for its own defense. The United States is the only NATO partner who can protect Greenland, and the president is advancing NATO interests in doing so. That's their response to our question about these remarks that called into question the bravery and sacrifice of NATO troops. There appears to be, Jonathan, a willful ignorance of NATO participation in Afghanistan, the furore that he's created, the inaccuracy of his remarks, and the disdain with which they have been received across the Atlantic. The White House line appears to be nothing to see here. I would say this story isn't playing very high on this side of the Atlantic. Jonathan, you actually have to look quite hard to find it. I spoke to a military contact of mine who served alongside NATO troops, British soldiers, and others in Afghanistan. He said, I don't know what story you're talking about. I had to bring him up to speed of what was going on. He was appalled. He spoke about these remarks as uncaring, insensitive. He reckoned it fed into Donald Trump's propaganda with regard to NATO. In terms of his motivation, I think we need to look no further than Davos, which saw a presidential climb down. NATO allies, for the first time in a long time, standing up to Donald Trump, and we hear that amplified by Sir Keir Starmer today. Resistance shown by allies who had been swimming with the tide on Donald Trump and his erratic nature, his excesses. Europe found its voice in Davos, and I do wonder if that's the motivation. Trump felt the defeat and felt the need to log this insult once he was back on home soil.
Thank you, James. James in Washington, John in Downing Street. Thank you both. And a little later in the programme, I'll speak to a colonel who led the first British unit into Helmand Province back in 2006. Speaking to him at 5:45 here on the news, about half an hour. Next tonight, a man has pleaded guilty to drugging and raping his former wife over more than a decade. 49-year-old Philip Young, former local councillor, admitted 48 offences relating to Joanne Young, who waived her legal right to anonymity.